For a long time, people said sick people make well people or sick animals make well animals sick. I have a cold and then my wife gets it and my children get it. Uncle Harry has snot and then Aunt Hilda gets snot. And then they looked for something they couldn't see that was the cause of it. And they found bacteria because bacteria actually do exist and are found on all living surfaces. And then they said it's the bacteria that spread from one person to another that makes them sick. Now, let me ask you another question. The principle behind that contagion, you made somebody sick, is if two or more people or animals have the same symptoms in the same time in the same place, that means something spread from one to the other. Is that true?
No, it doesn't have to be true.
In which case, if you say all swans are white, and then you find a million swans that are white and one that's black, you falsified that claim. So what about if somebody says yes, if a bunch of people, same symptoms, same time, same place. Isn't that what you're seeing?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. But when it comes
You don't see a bacteria, you don't see a virus. But here's the problem with that principle. If I put 100 rats in the basement and then I put rat poison and they all die of bleeding to death, the same symptoms, same time, same place, does that mean rat poison is a contagion? No. So you can't tell by looking whether there's a contagion or not. So you have to do a study and have the rats in the same place. And the only difference is one have poison and one don't, or one have sick rats and the other don't. Here's something I'm going to challenge you and all your listeners, because me and maybe 10, 12 other people have looked through the medical literature. There's not one study that proves that sick people or animals make well people or animals sick. Not one. And if you disagree with that, I don't want to hear about birds and Aunt Helen or Uncle Fred. I want to study where the sick people or the sick animals were the independent variable and they showed that they made the well animals or birds or people sick. Because I can tell you it doesn't exist, and I can show you 200 studies saying that's not how it works. But getting back to your question, so they said that that's how it works. They then disproved that that was correct with study after study. They put people who they said had scarlet fever, people they said had measles, people they said had Spanish flu. They had them cough in their face. They had them sleep in the same bed. None of them got sick. That's a fact. If you don't like that fact, fine, but that's the fact. So they said, well, anyways, that's a bacteria. And then sometimes they couldn't find a bacteria. So without seeing anything, they said it must be smaller than a bacteria. So we're going to call that a virus. That's how it came about.